Hey folks, welcome back to another battle report. As a Saga, I know it's been a while since I've done one of these. We're just trying to get back into the rules again. I'll be running a tournament in a couple of months. I don't think, I might be using the Welsh. I don't think I'll be using Welsh. I've got a couple of battle reports coming up where I'm mostly playing with just plastic models, no paint on them or anything. All depends on the time. If I can get as many of them as I have painted, I'll probably go for them. Otherwise, I will use the Welsh. This is the first time I've also used the Welsh since the javelins have been FAQ'd. So, the way the javelins have changed now, previously, every time you moved, you got a free shooting action. So that's now been limited to only once per turn. Unit gets free shooting action, and then only in your turn. I know a lot of my tricks involved moving in my opponent's turn, and also using that movement to activate, to get another round of shooting, and just constantly pepper them, move and shoot, move and shoot. The change doesn't seem massive, and I've going on this game. I seem happy to play with it as it is. Obviously, maybe javelins were just a little bit too overpowered previously, but you can still shoot with them. Obviously, it's just going to cost you the shooting activation instead of the movement and shooting, so you can't so easily get behind the enemy lines. Just keep moving, shooting, and doing it that way. So it's not too bad. I don't think anything else has changed with them. I'm pretty sure previously you didn't get the bonus in combat if the opponent decided to go defensive. So everything else seems to be a-okay. So the main things I'll be looking at is in my turn I can't shoot. Well, get my free shooting from moving, and I can only do it with the unit once per turn. Which isn't bad. As I say, if you've got lots of units, you can still glean quite a few. And as you see here, I've got quite a big force for it. And finally, the other thing that's changed is our land. That previously removed a fatigue from one fatigue from every unit, I believe, and then you can activate every unit. Now it's been reworded as it's one or t'other. So you may as well just activate every unit, because if the unit's got a fatigue that you want to get rid of anyway, you can just rest them. So yeah, that's not a huge difference. Obviously they just felt that's too powerful to lose the fatigue and get to move everyone. But I still think Our Land's probably the most important ability on here, especially if you want to get most out of your javelins and get everything moving and try and get away from trouble, because you don't want to be in combat with your javelin armed troops. So sorry for a bit of a long intro, and we'll get on with the game. So the scenario we're playing is from the new Battles book. We thought we'd try out just a random roll, and off the top of my head I can't remember everything that came out of it. I think it was a wooded area, so you had to place 2 woods. Fog came into it, and I think it was survival points. So what units you had left was the deciding for the winner of the game. Other than that, it was a pretty standard setup, and go for it just to get us back into it. Our opponent, let's say, is using Anglo-Saxons, and as you can see here he's got warriors right across the board, all taken up into big 12-man units, and a warlord in the back there on his horse and with a banner as well. He's used this before, and he quite enjoys using this combo, so we'll see how it goes. So in my warband, I am using on the right hand side there the 8 Hearthguard. I've got my Warlord on foot with Javelin, and then I have 3 points of warriors broken into 2 12-man units. And finally, on the left hand side there in the woods are my levy with bow. And I say this mission had fog, so it means in the first 3 turns you can't shoot or charge beyond medium. So my levy pretty much sat out this game, and I just relied on my javelins to do any range shooting that I needed. So the opponent got first turn, and I believe in the first turn he could only generate 3 Saga dice, all the others had to be put to the side. And we start with him just moving everything up, as you see here, and a couple of defensive abilities, getting ready to hold off against my shooting. That's interesting. I've moved. No. Yeah, that's right. I had 3 dice, like defensive dice, to set up first. That's why I've activated for some movement, so I could get up there while my opponent moved. So on my turn, I pushed up my unit that has the most shooting, and that is my Hearthguard with 8 shots, and managed to whittle down these chaps, take 5 of them, reducing them from 12 down to 7. It's going to make him quite difficult to activate. He does actually make a mistake later on of how many were in there, but it was easy we looked over, because I think how the Anglo-Saxon battle board works is you can activate units of 12 or more plus your Warlord and Hearthguard with all the dice, and then the next one down is 8 or more, I think, because of the 7 and that. Though we does spend a lot of effort putting in the +2 to your their strength when it comes to Saga abilities to keep as many of them active as he can, which got hard as I started doing more damage to him. So that's just the overview at the end of my turn, and then I got fatigue there on my Hearthguard because they had to move up, got their 3 round of shooting, which doesn't cause any fatigue, and then to shoot again, obviously I was going to get fatigue at the end of it. So in my opponent's movement phase, he moved up as aggressively as he can, tried to charge my centre guys. I used one of my reaction abilities to move them out of the way, but as you can see now already, his guys are on a long kind of conga line going back, while I've got my 3 missile units all sitting around 1 unit, and this is pretty much how I have a go at these Anglo-Saxons. If I can just spend a turn throwing some javelins at them, diminishing them down so their Saga abilities don't kick in so well, I should be able to finish them off in combat. So I got one of those nice rounds where I managed to get an R land on, so I got everybody to move. I don't know if it's this. I don't think it's this turn. I do eventually move the levy out of the woods once the fog vanishes. But in the meantime, I move up here. The guy's lying down, the Hearthguard. They're not dead. They're just lying down, resting on the hill, and using up what they can to throw as many javelins as I can into this unit. And as you can see, from a 12-man unit, it's now down to 5. So it wasn't a bad round of shooting. I believe this shot just shows at the end of the round, and that's how things are looking. So my opponent in his turn chucks his warriors in against my warriors, my 12 versus his 5. I was quite happy to take this. I had the ability to do some moving if I get charged, but at the moment, since I'm at full strength, I may as well take it and see what I can do. As I say, 12 attacks against 5, even with his abilities. I don't think he would have got any super abilities, because even with his +4, he's still not going to be a 10-man unit to get the best abilities out of his battle board. So, yep, I'll take this on the chin. I can't go defensive because I'm javelin armed, which means I am going to be fighting at the 1 lower armour. But with the 5 attacks to my 12, I'm happy taking that. I apologise for the sideways view here that I managed to get through, but yes, I managed to win the combat. I managed to kill 3 of them off, which was not great. I think they came in and gave themselves an extra armour and a couple of extra attacks. But in the end, I only lost 1 as well, so I was quite chuffed with that result. Both of us obviously gain fatigue, and he gets pushed off because he lost more casualties. The remaining actions on my opponent was to push the rest of his troops back up. Even the injured unit that was on the hill has been pushed back up towards the hill now, with a combination of his, I can't remember which ability it is, but there's one that allows you to move 2 units of 10 or more. That brought the rest of them up, while he used his Warlord to push the other guys up as well. So how I'm looking at it here, if I can get rid of those 2 guys in the middle, that'll be a nice sweet kill, which will give fatigue on all the chaps around them as well when I wipe them out. And then I can go and probably pick on the bigger unit and try and get rid of it. So again, with a bit of luck, I managed to get an hour land, which means I was be activating everybody. So with 2 dice, and then my Warlord activating for 3, and him being able to push anyone else. That's a lot of activations I can manage to kick out for a cost of only 2 dice. And I try and make it pay here. As you can see, I'd move up to try and take out the chaps in the middle and do some casualties on the big unit, as I expected. He used some defensive abilities, just a thing with one that increases his armor or something against shooting, and I managed to cause 3 to the large unit. Feeling pretty strong about what's in my unit, I decided to charge my Hearthguard into combat there. Yeah, it's only against warriors. He's got 2, 4, 6, 7 attacks, and I've got 16. I should be able to do damage. I mean, the big problem here with being with being the Welsh is obviously I'm only armor 4 in combat with my Hearthguard, and that's always a bit scary. So, yep, I went in with that one. With a +1 to wound, I am wounding them with 3, 16 attacks. It should give me a pretty good chance of decimating them. And yes, there was some moments of some clenched buttocks as I actually managed to lose 3 of the Hearthguard, which is a bit scary, but as again, there's a major issue of it only being defense 4. It does make them quite fragile, and it's quite costly to lose them. But they went in there, I managed to wipe out the opponent. So in the end, I lost 3 for 7. So I am what, a point up, half a point up. So maybe not too bad, but could have been better. So my opponent's turn, he starts chucking in his units. He's obviously down 1 Saga dice now since I wiped out the unit on the hill. And he's going to try and take advantage while he's got the Saga dice to generate, because he's actually only generating 3 Saga dice. Unfortunately, the 2-man unit of warriors won't generate any, because in the second edition of the rules you need at least 4 warriors to be able to generate a Saga dice. Amazingly, I actually managed to win the combat. It was pretty tight. It was 3-4. I did have the number of attacks on my side. Because the limitation of Saga dice on my opponent, I don't think he had any actual Saga abilities in that fight. So it was a pure dice roll. The main advantage he had was that he had +1 to wound me, due to the fact I'm javelin armed and in close combat. So he's hit me on 3s while I was hitting him on 4s. But my 12 attacks, I believe, against his 9 or so attacks, I just managed to beat him by 1, so it was a pretty close run thing. Finally, he moves the rest of his units to come up, brings up the other big unit up onto the hill. He's now going to be very quickly running out of Saga dice and men to fight me. As I say, I've still got my levy over the left hand side. I think they might have crawled out of the woods by now, starting to move across just to try and get some long range shot ins. I'm not spending any dice on it, but just using the Our Land capability to get them moving. As you see in the centre there, I'm feeling pretty happy with what I got. Oh, that's what. Yes, he moved up to the hill to charge my my Hearthguard, which I've then moved them back out of the way. So, yes, I'm not too displeased so far. Sorry for the blurry, but I move up on the left hand side there with my I think that's a pretty large unit there. Chuck a couple of javelins and get that unit 5 down to 3. Which I would like to wipe them out for the extra fatigue, but I just wiped him on there, and now he's no longer generating Saga dice, so it puts him down to 2 Saga dice. My hero, feeling a bit left out and wanting to be a bit more of a hero, decides to charge the little 3-man unit that was in the centre there. Managed to wipe them out, sticking a fatigue on everyone around them. I then throw my other unit of warriors up to take on his Warlord, because I think at that point he had 3 fatigue on him. I think I spent 1 fatigue to lower his armour, and then he spent 1 fatigue maybe of mine to raise it back up again, but with my javelins wounding him on 4s, I believe. So yeah, I managed to get the wounds through. He could only save 1 on the fatigue, and I managed to kill him off. He's in the background there running off, but he did die. Unfortunately, he only had 5 attacks due to the fact that he had a banner. So yeah, he was scarpering off there. With my position as strong as it is, I didn't mind throwing my warriors, my Hearthguard, in to attack his warriors, and yes, with 5 guys, give me 10 attacks against his 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, was that full man, 12 man yet? But I suppose I was playing on the fact that I didn't have any fatigue on me, and he had 2 fatigue on him, and so I could whop my armour up by 1 and then whop his armour out by 2. Give me the least defense 5 and wounding him on 2s with 10 attacks. So once all said and done, I managed to lose 2 of my own nobles, and then my opponent's warriors lost 5, so I managed to drive them back. And with that, I actually believe we played right through to the 6 turns. So no, it actually might have been 5 turns, to be honest. Might have been like because I know the battle book has different styles of games. This was a skirmish, which basically is like the standard game, but you roll for different kind of variations on it. And this might have had a bit more of a random ending, actually. And we might have had a roll on to see if we got another turn. But that's how it finished off. I was quite happy with that. As I say, the Welsh javelins didn't really let me down. I'm definitely liking the big units of 12. Although my poor 8-man unit of nobles, I mean, I have to really keep an eye on these guys. They are very fragile. I think if I'm up against like Normans or any cavalry based army, there would be such an easy target to go for, being in defense or armor 4 in combat. So yeah, but here I managed to move everyone down into the flank and then pretty much engage 1 unit at a time. I mean, that 1 unit where I showed you, it was all surrounded. Yeah, I had my 3 units there and my Warlord there. I was free to shoot them up and engage them when they're weak enough, which to me is exactly how the Welsh should be working. So it feels quite historically accurate as well. So as I say, the javelin rules, not a huge dent. I don't think. It seems to play just as well as before. It just doesn't seem quite so beardy, I suppose. And as for the Our Land one, it was a bit extreme to have the ability to remove 1 fatigue off absolutely everybody and then get to activate everyone. So they've toned that one down. So pretty much it's just you get to activate everyone. I don't think anyone will be using the fatigue removal ability on it for 1 fatigue. What would be the point? So yeah, I'm happy with that. I managed to get 2-hour lands off, and it really paid off. As I say, that ability to move absolutely everybody, awesome. Really liked it. Alright guys, thanks for watching. I hope you're still enjoying these. It's glad to get back to this. I've got another Welsh one coming up. As I say, the tournament coming up, I'm not entirely sure what I'll be using. I'm trying to get my Carolingian Franks up and running. They're a lot of plastic state at the moment. I probably have a couple of battles of them coming up. I've got some chaps coming down from North Devon. Give us a couple of games, get back into it. So I'll probably be trying them out there. So I do apologise that you'll be seeing grey plastic battle reports. I know that sucks and looks awful. I mean, I know my Welsh aren't all painted, but I've got enough of them painted that it doesn't stand out. The ones I have, I got at least undercoated. Unfortunately, with how busy I am at the moment, I doubt I'm going to have the time to get them undercoated before those battle reports happen. Alright guys, I'll see you next time. Da Wells.